Hello, I'm Uri Rom from the Buchman Mehta School of Music, Tel Aviv University. I wish to acquaint you with Corpus, a new data project that we've been developing in my research group. The software was developed by Dror Chavin. Omer Raz and Akkad Israel, who used the database for their own analytical projects, gave invaluable help in structuring and improving it. Musicologists and music theorists engaging in corpus studies often need to store analytical information about large bodies of works. If you have done something like that yourself, you'd know that you need to set up your chord index, an Excel file, or even a database project to handle this. Just feeding in the data is always an immensely time-consuming process. Retrieving it and generating statistics is yet another one and may prove equally labor-intensive. With Corpus, we propose an online wiki-like project that will enable researchers to launch their own research projects based on musical repertoires already catalogued in the database, or, alternatively, enhance the available entries by cataloging new composers and works as needed. I'm entering the database by typing my username and password. At the moment, we have two tabs active in the project. Upon logging in, I see the Works tab, which is the one most in use. The other tab is that of Composer, but there are several informative tabs as well on the right-hand side. We begin by exploring the Composer tab. At the moment, we can add new composers. At a later stage, the database will have the option to search existing composers, edit and delete a composer. I've now entered the Add New Composer form. The only obligatory field here is the composer's name. The program shows for every data field an example in gray indicating how the field should look like. The program offers Johann Sebastian Bach, however, today we opt for Ludwig van Beethoven. The moment I enter something in the name field, the Save option, which is the V symbol on the lower left corner, is enabled. The moment I move on to the next field, the database contacts the Wikipedia and looks for the composer's name. And here it found our composer. I confirm that this is the right entry. Also, you see the first paragraph from the Wikipedia automatically appears below. I can now easily copy out the necessary information to the data fields. I fill in the birth, and the death date. The biographical note has several possible formats. We don't take it from the Wikipedia, but rather from the Grove Online Lexicon. Here I copy and paste the relevant information. Beethoven was born in Bonn and spent most of his professional life in Vienna. For now, I enter only these two cities. In addition to the works published by Beethoven, which received normal opus numbers, there are quite a few pieces that were not published during his lifetime. In the Beethoven research, these works are catalogued separately with the tag WOO, standing for Werke ohne Opuszahl, works without opus number. This tag will be transferred automatically to other forms and be used to search and edit individual works by Beethoven. By the way, using these two fields, which are marked by 3 dots, we may add annotations regarding Beethoven's biography, the places he worked in, etc. Finally, we may enter Beethoven's religious denomination here. This piece of information is, of course, optional. Now we have all information we want to store on Beethoven, and I may add the new record by pressing the V symbol. Pressing the backspace symbol instead would clear all fields without saving the composer, but we want now to save the record. The thumb up sign shows that this was done successfully. So we now move on to the Work tab of the database. This page has two regions. The upper region, Search Work, is used to locate existing works in the database. The lower region is used to add a new work or edit an existing one. Later, we will also have the option to delete works in case of doubles or wrong entries. We've already stored data on some symphonies by Joseph Haydn, so we enter his name using the autocomplete option. We want to review the entry of his 6th symphony, dubbed by him Le Matin, the morning. So we now proceed to the search symbol to locate it. Once the search list appears, we can access the symphony by using the I symbol. This transfers us to the lower region of the page. Here I can view the work's data or, if needed, edit its attributes. In order to enter the edit mode, I need to click the pencil icon. We see red asterisks next to the 3 mandatory fields: composer name, works title, at least the short title. In the case of Le Matin, the nickname was given by the composer himself, and consequently it's an integral part of the title. And finally, the composition date. There are several possibilities to enter the composition date. The database also supports entering a time span in case dating is uncertain or approximated. With regard to Le Matin, experts disagree about whether the symphony was composed in 1761 or in 1763, so we enter this as a range. Later, when searching for works written any time throughout this range, we'll find the symphony. Many of the fields at the work level have already been filled, but some are still missing. It has no opus number, but in the Hoboken catalog, it has received the numbering Roman 1, colon 6. It has 4 movements. We select the genre from an autocomplete list. The work's key is D major. We use capital letters for major mode keys. Small b is used for flat. And the number symbol indicates sharp. The 3 parameters finalis, mode, and range are used for modal music and are not relevant for Haydn's symphony. So now we can save the data at the works level and proceed to view the first movement. Regarding this movement, several parameters are already in the database. The first parameter shows the movement's position in the cycle. We can store the movement's title, if it has one, and the number of measures it contains. This here is the instrumentation field. The instruments have been entered already. They are displayed in boxes below the field and ordered according to customary modern score order. These fields are for the movement's form, tempo, and meter. Incidentally, the tempo marking is still missing, so we click the pencil icon to add it. I access the score to find the tempo. Note that this movement has a slow introduction, but we'll look for the tempo of the main section. This is an allegro, and I fill it in using the autocomplete option. The key of the movement D major is entered correctly already, so we now may proceed to save the data. A feature to be added soon is the possibility to add sections below the movement's level. This will enable us to handle big compositions in one movement, such as Strauss and Liszt's tone poems, by partitioning them into many sections, each with its own form, tempo, meter, and even its own instrumentation. However, the main aim of our database is to serve as an online platform for user-defined analytical projects. This means that users can collect and store analytical data as linked to the movement level. The data structures are different for each project depending on the musical phenomena explored. Let's first look into Omer's project. In this project, we collect data on the structure of the opening themes of Joseph Haydn's symphonies. We look especially into topological questions, that is, the rhetorical gestural design of the opening theme. We are now about to create a new item in this project, which is linked to the first movement of Haydn's Le Matin symphony. We do this by clicking New, and now the new item is open for editing. Let's look at the score of the symphony to see how this theme is built. We ignore the slow introduction because what interests us are sonata form primary themes, which always appear at the beginning of the quick part. This is a 7-bar theme in soft dynamics. In fact, it's an 8-bar theme with the final cadence elided with the beginning of the transition. Now, this transition's beginning itself refers back to the main theme, this time in tutti and in loud dynamics. This is a topological phenomenon we refer to as restatement of the main theme in reverse dynamics. We have invented the code res_rev to represent this phenomenon. I enter this code and press save. It is now stored and displayed right below the entry line. I can now add other codes as well because many themes express not just one topos but 2 or even 3 different topoi. Now we want to write about the structure of the theme. This is known in the literature as a period with a dissolving consequent, where the antecedent is the real theme and its restatement already serves to launch the retransition. I enter this description and leave the other optional fields empty for now, and proceed to save. Now we want to see how to create a new work not existing yet in the database. To exit the current work, I need to click the backspace symbol. Pressing the plus opens the Add New Work form. We have added Beethoven earlier as a new composer, so there are still no works catalogued under his name. I search and find Beethoven in the database. Let's now add the 9th Symphony. Some of the fields, as well as the Save option, are still disabled. I need to fill the mandatory fields first to make everything else accessible. Now we may save after we add also the composition date. We now may save the work and add the non-mandatory field. The 9th is nicknamed the Choral Symphony, so I add this in the extended title. I add the opus number, number of movements, genre, and key, small d for D minor. And we now save. At the moment, no movements are stored under the work as yet. I can add movements by pressing the plus movement symbol. I can also add multiple movements by pressing it several times. I wish to add the final movement, so I first add all 3 foregoing movements without editing them. After creating the 4th movement, I access the editing mode by clicking on the pencil sign. I enter the movements tag, but leave all other data blank for the time being because I want to show you another user-defined project. This time, it's not Omer's Topos project, but rather Akkad's Incipit project. In this project, we store and analyze fugal themes from the early tonal period, but now we'll abuse this function in order to show you how this feature may be used to enter Beethoven's famous choral melody. This feature, based on open source code, works like that. F sharp. Automatically, the program opts for quarter notes as rhythmical value. Also, I need to add the bar lines myself. Default meter is common time. If I wish to change the rhythmic values, I need to enter a numeral representing the new value after the note's name. 2 stands for a half note, 3 stands for a quarter note, etc. And here we've entered the melody's incipit and saved it. Under this tab, I can get information about the open source code used by Dror. Here are some site statistics. And finally, that's where I log out. Thanks for viewing this and enjoy using Corpus.